It's the comparison test we've all been waiting for, and the question we're asking is pretty simple. Can the new Ford Everest knock the Toyota Prado off its perch as Australia's best large 4x4 wagon? Let's compare the pair and find out.
The second generation Aussie designed and developed Everest is again based on a modified version of the Ranger Utes ladder frame chassis. It also comes bristling with tech and equipment. The Prado also has a ladder frame as its base. It's a design that's been around since 2009, although there have been a couple of pretty hefty updates along the way. For this comparison, we've lined up the top spec Everest Platinum and Prado Kakadu. We're talking more than $80,000 on the road for the Ford and more than $90,000 for the Toyota.
Before we go any further, we should explain this comparison is focused on city, suburban and country driving with a bit of gravel thrown in. The sort of stuff most of us do most of the time.
We're not engaging low range or towing a van. Those crucial aspects of their capability deserve their own detailed analysis. In line with its positioning, the Ford has been blinged out with plenty of chrome and 21-inch alloy wheels, the largest ever offered with Everest. The Prado's not quite as Hollywood. The Kakadu gets unique 19-inch alloy wheels, and it's the only Prado with a moonroof. Our test car also came with a flat tailgate that shifts the spare wheel under the floor where it replaces the sub-fuel tank. That's not great news if you want to head seriously outback.
One of the big Everest stories is under the bonnet, where you'll find a 3-litre V6 turbo diesel with class-leading torque. The Prado's 2.8-litre 4-cylinder turbo diesel gives up both power and torque to the Everest, but claims better fuel consumption.
The Everest comes with a 10-speed automatic transmission and a set and forget 4x4 system that can choose whether to drive 2 or 4 wheels. The Prado has permanent 4x4 and a 6-speed auto. That all might sound a bit old hat, but it does get proper semi-manual shifting at the lever and via paddles. The Everest just has these fiddly shift buttons on the side of this clumsy gear knob.
These two big screens are the real attention getters when you get in the Platinum Everest, but everything else is pretty dark. Even this contrasting trim is pretty much melding in with the leather. It all kind of detracts from the luxury sell.
The quilted leather seats are large, supportive and stylish, but they don't feel to have all that much cushion in the base. Manually adjustable reach and rake steering helps make the driver comfortable. The Everest apes the top spec Rangers in getting a double glove box. That's probably the highlight of the storage story. There's plenty of places to put things, but nowhere unexpected.
The Platinum is the only Everest to come with this full-fat 12.4-inch digital instrument cluster, which means you get a permanent tacho, so good thing. But it's not that configurable. You can't put different skins on it or rearrange the dials, anything like that. The 12-inch touchscreen is huge, obviously. So it means that sat-nav maps are very easy to read. Not so easy to read are these aircon controls further down.
Connecting Apple CarPlay can be quite a convoluted process, but once up and running, it works well. If you dial up some music, the 12-speaker Bang & Olufsen sound system can really crank it out.
The resolution of the Everest big touchscreen is absolutely excellent, but I reckon it's positioned slightly too low, and it could also be angled slightly towards the driver as well, just to help when you have a quick glance at it.
The Everest is a big vehicle, so its 360-degree camera and front and rear sensors help with parking, as does the active parking system. Look, Ma, no hands or feet.
The Prado feels like you sit more on it than in it when you jump into the driver's seat. Less cave-like than the Everest. There's more light and shade to the trim.
The Prado ups the Everest with a power-adjustable steering column, but the driver's seat lacks size and support. At least the seat cushion feels more substantial. The The Prado doesn't have as many storage options as the Everest, but there is a cool box to keep your drinks icy on the road.
The Prado retains a simple white on black instrument panel. So tacho, speedo, round dials, white needles, very simple. But there is a digital readout in the centre between the dials. That includes things like a trip computer and a digital speedo, which is very handy.
The Prado shows its age with this 9-inch touchscreen. The basics are here, but it's clumsy to navigate. Unlike the Everest, there is no wireless smartphone charging or connection.
The resolution of the screen can't match the Everest, but you still do get a variety of camera views, including overhead, forward, and down each side.
The Prado matches the Everest front and rear parking sensors, but it doesn't have the same sophisticated parking talents. You've got to do it yourself. Both cars come with a pretty comprehensive infotainment and tech equipment list, but at this money, no head-up display is a disappointing omission. Both cars have the driver assist basics covered, but overall the Everest has a much more modern inventory. It has enough well-tuned assistance to proceed hands-free along a freeway, sitting in the centre of its lane and adjusting itself to different speed limits. It's impressive.
Despite being longer than its predecessor, the new Ford Everest is not that generous in terms of legroom in the middle row of seats, even with the seat base slid all the way back. By contrast, elbow room is fine and headroom is generous.
There's aircon vents and basic controls back here, as well as seat heating and storage options that include these pop-out cup holders in the drop-down armrest.
The Prado clearly has better legroom for adults in the rear seat than the Everest. It also has a seat base that slides through a decent range. Elbow room and headroom across both vehicles is roughly the same.
The Prado's rear seat features are also superior to the Everest. There's this drop-down video screen as well as tri-zone climate controls. Storage is about even between the two. And yes, for my sins, I did try row 3 in both. It's for the kids back here, especially in the Everest. The Prado ekes out more room because the middle row can be comfortably moved further forward. Both third rows are powered, there are cup holders and air vents for passengers, and crucially, curtain airbags do stretch this far back.
The upside of the Everest's reduced space in its third row is a bigger boot. By contrast, the Prado has virtually no luggage room behind the third row of seats. But as they fold, the Prado does catch up.
The Prado has a security blind to cover luggage when row 3 is folded, but when it's removed, there's nowhere under the floor to store it. The Prado also gets a 220 volt plug in the boot. The Everest is pretty basic when it comes to boot features. There is a small storage bin offered under the floor.
Okay, so that's how they stack up standing still. Now let's get the Everest and Prado moving and see what we find. The Everest instantly feels more connected to drive. Its steering is more direct and its V6 engine has more urge.
Having said that, the engine is not going to blow you away. There's occasionally a bit of lag down low, and with 2.5 tonnes to haul, it's literally weighed down in its responses. But gee, it's quiet and smooth. At first taste, you could think you're in a petrol V6, not a diesel.
Ford has set the Everest Platinum with a bit of compliance in the suspension, so there's some body roll and motion in the corners. Maybe not quite as tied down as I expect the Ford to be.
Nor does the ride feel especially well resolved. On big undulations, it tends to softly pogo, while the constant small imperfections familiar to Aussie roads are transmitted into the cabin. It simply isn't as nicely tuned as we expected it to be. Having also driven the Everest Sport though, with a less aggressive tyre, it's clear the ride does seem to be more settled. And it's also a very good viewing platform. Those big windows do help spot other tucked away traffic.
No problem when it comes to the Everest being a quiet place to ride. Ford's done a great job quelling all types of noise into the cabin. The Prado is a simple proposition to drive. It just feels like it's been hewn from solid.
It's actually lighter than the Everest, but it's still slower and less responsive to throttle inputs. The auto is also more obvious in its changes, although it's making less of them.
The Prado's air spring suspension is driver adaptable through multiple modes, but you never lose the feeling this is a top heavy vehicle with ponderous road manners.
The Prado does a better job than the Everest of dealing with minor road imperfections, but it struggles to shield passengers from the big hits.
The Prado is not as quiet as the Everest on the move. The engine works harder and makes itself known.
Like the Everest, the Prado has big windows and it towers over the road. If anything, it's a better viewing platform than the Ford. The Prado backs up its claims by being more fuel efficient in the real world. On a set 80-kilometre loop encompassing a wide variety of country and city driving, it reported a 10.2 litre 100 kilometre average versus 12 litres per 100 kilometres for the Everest. In the end, neither of these vehicles were a wow to drive on our test loop. Height and weight don't help. On the open road, the Everest felt in need of fine-tuning and the Prado felt a bit unsophisticated. In town, their sheer size was a constant factor. Both Ford and Toyota have really improved their customer offer in recent years with longer warranties and good value cap price servicing. The deal breaker could be the Toyota's shorter service intervals. Driving the Ford Everest and Toyota Prado primarily on city, suburban and country bitumen is a great reminder what great off-roaders they are. There are better big all-wheel drive wagon choices out there for commuting and daily driving. But this is a head-to-head test and there has to be a winner. And you know what? It's not entirely clear-cut.
The Prado is old, but still very competent. The Everest, at least in this platinum guise, isn't quite as convincing as I expected it to be, but it still wins this comparison test. It has a significant price advantage, a compelling safety story, and overall drives that bit better. But I reckon the guys and girls at Ford still have some work to do on the Everest, some refining, and they need to do it because there's a new Prado not that far away. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe for more videos and let us know what you think in the comments below.